"What is your dream?" one judge asked him. "To sing on stage." A young boy who participated in a famous British audition program answered weakly. No one expected to see such a stunning performance from this ordinary boy. But when he opened his mouth and started to sing, the crowds were mesmerized and he received a standing ovation. His name is Andrew Johnston. When he was 8 months old, his parents divorced and his mother struggled to raise him on her own. He started to sing classical music since he was 6, but his friends would bully him because they thought it wasn't adequate for their age. Singing was the only way to make him exist and get out of his lonely life. When I was 9, my parents had also divorced as well. Since I was afraid how other people would think of me, I began to make a wall around my heart to protect myself from prejudice. I became timid and had no confidence. But the only thing that could bring me out of the real world was singing. Whenever I sang, I pictured myself as a main character of lyrics. I dreamed to one day sing my heart out fully on the stage, but it was just my imagination. Everyone can dream. However, many of them feel it difficult to take a step to achieving their dreams. Andrew and I had many things in common: parents' divorce, bullying, dismay, and a love to sing. But one thing that was in him that I didn't have was courage. It's not an easy thing that a 13-year-old boy, bullied from his peers, stand on the stage where a lot of people are watching. When I saw his courage, a small fire of change arose in my mind. Finally, the time had come. While school training camp was going, I heard of a singing contest that would take place, so I signed up for it. A part of me had hope, while the other part of me was full of anxiety. Though I wasn't able to sing as brilliant as Andrew, I decided to try out. I still remember what I felt on the stage. More than 100 people concentrated on me. I felt dizzy and my whole body was shaking. But when the music started, I became a girl who sings alone on the rooftop. I'll spread my wings and I'll learn how to fly. I'll do what it takes till I touch the sky and make a wish, take a chance, make a change, and break away. After the song ended, the crowds gave me warm-up applause. I felt that the applause was not for my talent for singing, but applause for overcoming my limitation. I used to live with the thought that I could not do anything by myself, but when I came out of myself and broke limits that I had, my life was totally changed. The experience to overcome my limitation through singing contest became a stepping stone to achieve another challenge. When Andrew finished his song, the judge told him, "Andrew, I think about the school bully is they don't like you for one reason. You've got more talent than they can dream of ever having. I think you are better than you think you are. Maybe I don't have a stunning talent like him, but just like the lyrics that I sang, I spread my wings and I learned how to fly through this experience. I was afraid to come out from my cocoon, but when I came out of it, I was already a butterfly that could fly freely wherever I wanted. Now, I want to say to whoever is still inside of the limitation, make a wish, take a chance, and break away." Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 2, Hyun-Jin Khan from Gyeongnam University. She will give a speech titled Beautiful Disqualification.
Can you believe that failure is valuable and beautiful? A few days ago, Usain Bolt was disqualified in the national track and field meet 100-meter dash because of his false start. His fans feel sorry that he's not given another chance, and they said he's like a victim. However, I think that his disqualification is very gorgeous and worthy. I would like to share my precious lesson that I received. Failure is so beautiful. When I was an elementary school student, I entered an athletic meet. I placed first in the 100-meter dash by an eyelash. Actually, I was in second place, but my guidance teacher insisted that I reached the goal first with my chest. I took the ball overnight. I felt suspicious about the result, but I just liked first place at the time. After I entered middle school, I participated in Untitled Meet again. I got 3 chances to jump, and my score was written higher than my real score because of the judge's mistake. He said, "Hyun-Jin, keep this a secret." But I knew the truth. In those days, I was pleased with being in first place. As time passed, whenever I recalled that, I was ashamed, and I became the one who does not put my heart and soul into challenge. When I took a test, I expected something lucky through an easier and more convenient way like cheating, because the result was much more important than the process. Even someone who became a winner, what is famous, I doubted them thinking a supporter might help them while they used bad tricks. I always had a habit of doubting the truth, and I had a prejudice, seeing the world incorrectly. I was first in the race, but I lost my passion. Through his disqualification, surely he got frustrated. However, he could take time for self-examination, and he could become eager for success. Through this, he can grow as a greater winner than before. I'm sure passion can be received by overcoming failure and frustration, not only by becoming a winner. At that time, if I had been disqualified, I could have known the important value of challenge and victory. But I lost it. As you know, losing passion as a teenager means losing everything. Even though he was a loser in the Olympics, he's a winner in my heart now. Usually, I only applaud the winner. However, I need to get into a habit of clapping for participants' effort, sweat, passion, challenging heart toward the purpose, and also cheerful failure. This is exactly what gives a chance to challenge again and become a real winner. Not only me, but also others. Precious experience of a failure gives brave heart for challenge, 2 eyes which can look at something without having stereotypical views, and 2 strong legs which are not tired for a new goal. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to become an eternal winner? Why don't you enjoy failure? Let's enjoy failure. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 3, Aryun-Song from Korea University. She will be giving a speech titled Lessons from a Drama Club.
Hello everyone. Hi. Oh, okay. Today, I'll tell you an interesting story. Before I entered Korea University, I was considered a model student in all schools I attended. As class president, giving orders to classmates came naturally to me. Moreover, getting good grades was important, though not to be compared with my mother's friend's daughter. I gained enough knowledge and a chance to become a university student, but there was no exercising, no hobbies, and no laughing. After I entered university, I joined a drama club because I was so impressed by their performance. My first role was a woman who always said unordinary things. Since the play was a comedy, there was lots of ridiculous acting like this. But I was too embarrassed to make a fool of myself in front of many people. My second character was an evil director of a hospital. At that time, I quarreled with my partner frequently. I thought a scene should be a certain way, but my partner thought differently. In the end, we stopped talking to each other. In the next show, I acted as a leader of a women's society, 국회의장. I kept practicing without taking a break because I wanted to give a perfect performance. Members told me, "You need to rest. Your perfectionism is disturbing your performance. I hated myself for acting without a loud and clear voice. I didn't want to be just a diligent actress. I also wanted to be a good actress who performs well on stage. As you can guess, those were total disasters. I felt ashamed in my first comedy, ruined a good friendship in the second play, and spent a most painful time by preparing for the third. But the drama club taught me 3 valuable lessons. First, while doing the comedy, I realized that I can express my emotion not only by speaking, but also by body gestures. For instance, I can show excitement like this. I had little chance to move my body when I just studied sitting on a chair. Second, during the conflict with my team members, I learned that various ideas exist as every person has a different way of living their life. Also, that variety can create a synergy effect when it's combined. Finally, I learned the true meaning of the phrase, practice makes perfect. There is no shame in working diligently, and the process of doing something well cannot be separated from that diligence. I'm still young, still make a lot of mistakes, but at least now I know that we should manage every situation while keeping ourselves strong and free. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 4, Jin-Soo Chang from Inha Technical College. Title is The Most Impressive Moment.
People from an early age try hard to make themselves look better than others. Even a cute 7-year-old who knows that the Christmas present he gets is from his mother will show off to his friends who still live in Santa Claus. Likewise, people want to be called a genius that has nothing they do not know. But unfortunately, older people call me this, plain stupid. Today, this is what I'll be talking about. Friday night on the way home from school, I walked by a movie theater by chance and thought, what would be a good movie to watch? I looked at the posters, but one caught my attention. The movie was called The 3 Idiots. The main characters were 3 idiots who attended India's top university, and of course I thought they were only troublemakers. Surprisingly, they played the role as idiots well. While drunk, they would urinate in front of the president of a school's house and run away. Or in class, they would say to the professor, if I were you, I wouldn't follow your teaching style because it could never create a best man. Because of them, the campus was always hectic. But after watching the movie, I fell into deep thought. Were the idiots really idiots? I too had a lot of them I'm an idiot, but I felt that something was different in them who are also called the idiot. Only after several months, I realized what was different, and that was in March 2011, my first day in college. I wanted to make many good friends, but they tended to make more new friends outside of school through drinking parties. I didn't like parties, so I didn't go to those meetings. One time, there was a meeting with older students and seniors, but I could not go because I was preparing for a dance competition for the church. My friends called me stupid. The next day, I've always wanted to volunteer work, and so with one of my friends, we decided to make a volunteer club. We handed out flyers to gather students. Lastly, we went up to the professor to get permission. But we came out of the room in 5 minutes. The club activity was not allowed for our major. It doesn't seem to make sense. But even my professor said, don't waste your time on useless stuff and study hard, stupid. A few days later, there was sports competition. I was expecting to have a great time, but our seniors were too crazy about winning that they trained us right after class until late into the night. I thought, who is this sports competition for? And it made me come to conclusion. Right after class, I went home. My seniors called me stupid. Going through all of this was not easy. In school, there were no students in my major who did not know who I was. I was playing dumb to know what to fear and just did what I had to do. The only thing that I could was just to hold fast to my belief that I learned from those three idiots. And little by little, it began to change people's mind towards me. Some of them began to ask me out to lunch together and come to me to talk about their worries and problems. At first I thought, I might feel left alone while I'm standing up for my belief. But it's the other way around. I've won the hearts and minds of people. They are such great experiences for me. Everyone, an idiot has a lot that he or she may not know. But the idiot I'm talking about is someone who doesn't know what is possible or impossible, what can or can't be done. That is always what I expected, and after living like that all alone, I was truly happy. If anyone calls you stupid, don't get mad, but think of it as a present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 5, Seong-min Bae from Busan National University. Title is The Good Child Syndrome. Are you honest with yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm here to share with you a recent personal episode that turned out to be valuable life lessons. I sincerely hope that this reflection will help any of you who have similar issues. As is the case for many Koreans, since I was young, I've always wanted to be a good girl. I listened to what my parents or teachers told me and tried to follow their orders all the time. Also, whenever a lot of people are making agreement over something, I hated to make troubles. Therefore, even when I don't agree with a person's ideas or actions, I usually end up accepting others' perspectives. Now, however, at the age of 23, I realized that this pattern can eventually turn into a big personal problem. This summer, I attended classes abroad with a group of my schoolmates. However, one girl behaved distinctly from everyone else. She always did what she wanted and tried to lead the group as she desired. She also loved to take pictures and always asked me to photograph her because I was submissive than the others. Of course, taking a photo is not a big deal. But the problem was that because of her constant photo takings, everyone had to wait until she finished before heading anywhere. Also, whenever she asked me to do something with her, I said yes, even though I didn't always want to accompany her. Again, I just did not want any trouble. At the end of class, one of our members stated that I seemed to be suppressing my true feelings and only pretending to be fine, although I was not really well inside. I told her that if I could make everyone happy, I am really fine even though I'm not doing or expressing what's really on my mind. She then told me that I need to consider whether I'm really being honest to myself and accept that I'm hiding my true feelings for the sake of what I called peace. She pointed out that I was experiencing what is termed the good child syndrome. When different people meet, the mix of individual personalities, opinions, and behaviors can easily lead to disharmony. I always position myself as a person who keeps the peace in a group settings. As a result of that conversations, I try to look at my true feelings and ask myself, am I really happy? I concluded that I was only pretending to be all right, although I was crying inside. I've always wanted people to like me and to be viewed as a good child, person, or friend. I thought a good person endures, is not overly critical, does not use harsh words, and listens to others first instead of to themselves. All along, I have been so focused on other people praising me as a good child. I rejected my own voice and wasn't being honest to either myself or to others. From now on, I'll try to be honest to myself and not to care so much about how other people see me. Well, I'm not saying that I'll now be an ego-driven prima donna. Instead, I'll try to capture the one and Seong-min's voice in all my future interaction with others. What a valuable lesson. It's time to be honest with yourself. Are you always honest with yourself? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 6, Myung-Jin Shin from Jeonnam National University. Title is My Happiest Moment.
I want to talk about the most heartwarming story in my life, but I have to bring up a story that may give you a little bit of an unpleasant feeling, okay? It's an episode that happened when I was a Good News Corps overseas volunteer in beautiful Vienna. For 1 year, I lived with 5 other volunteers much younger than me. They obeyed me like I'm a boss. I wanted to be a close friend whom they could really pour out their heart to, but it didn't work out. I couldn't figure out how to open their heart. One day, while going back to the Good News Corps Center from a neighboring city with my teammates, I had to go to the bathroom. Okay, I needed to take a dump. But in Austria, you have to pay 1 or 2 euros to even enter the bathroom and wash your hands. On that day, all I had was a bus pass. We all were literally penniless. It was about midnight and we had to arrive at the center before buses stopped running. So we couldn't delay. We got on the bus and for about 1 hour, I endured, but I couldn't stand it any longer. At that time, thankfully we arrived at the center, our destination, Florisdorf, without accident. But I had been dying to poop. I walked gingerly because it seemed that it would come out. As I said before, I had no money. So I prayed with all my heart that a kind foreigner was in the restroom, and I came in. Thankfully, there was a handsome, kind-looking person. I walked straight to him and said politely, "I need 1 euro, please." And he said, "No." I did not back off meekly at this point. I persisted and said, "Please!" I wanted to show my urgency. Perhaps he might be deeply moved by my expression, or by God, who knows. He changed his attitude and said, "I'm sorry, truly I have no money, but I have a good idea." "What?" "You have 2 choices. One is here, and the other is there." He pointed to a urinal, then the floor. And with an even greater show of his overflowing care, he said, "I'll watch." I banished all worries from my mind and chose one urinal and dropped my pants. I was so relieved. And furthermore, he gave me tissue. I was so thankful. I walked out of the restroom with him to my teammates who were waiting for me. They probably thought everything was normal, but I didn't want to hide what happened. I wanted to be a brother to them, not a boss. So I explained all about what happened to me in the restroom, even though they made fun of me. While I explained, they laughed continuously. Since then, they teased me, saying, "Hey bro, you have 2 choices, I'll watch." But surprisingly, I felt no displeasure. I was thankful to them because I could see we became closer to each other. I was so happy after that. We've got along until now. While I stayed in Austria, I learned that others' hearts flow to me when my heart becomes low, whether by my will or by force. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 7, Min-jung Park from Yeongnam University. The title is The Talking Stick.
Now I can speak. This is a talking stick. I'd like to talk to you about the relationship between a talking stick and leadership. The talking stick was used when American Indians had a meeting. They sat around in a circle, and only the man who had the talking stick could speak. The others couldn't say anything until that man finished his speech. This culture demonstrates the importance of listening. Actually, this talking stick culture produces a striking effect on leaders by helping to collect creative ideas and opinions. 1 month ago, I participated in a student camp in Ghana and unexpectedly became a leader in my class. I had never been a leader before, so I thought a leader was a person who insisted on doing things his way. Hey, let's eat hamburgers for lunch. No, we need to do it this way. Hey guys, hurry up! At first, they listened to me, but gradually they began to ignore me and turn away from me. I was still caught up in the idea that I had to lead the whole class because I was their leader. They pretended to listen to me by saying yes, but actually they didn't listen at all. I felt so rejected and lonely, and I just wanted to quit. And when I was alone, I would cry out in frustration. One day, we participated in a problem-solving game involving a city tour of Accra. We got on a bus to go downtown to serve the task. Normally, I would have said, in my opinion, or I think we should. But this time, I was so tired that I asked my classmates, "Look at this. What do you think?" Then I just waited, and an amazing thing began to happen. They began to join in the game and voicing their own opinions. We figured out the answer in just 10 minutes. It was surprising. All I did was listen. I finally realized that my attitude as a leader was completely wrong. I had to listen first to be a good leader. After that, I always asked them, "What do you think?" As I mentioned before, the talking stick demonstrates the importance of listening. I tried to have the talking stick for myself. While I was in charge of leading the class in the camp, I learned how to listen to others. I also realized that they won't listen to me if I don't listen to them. I think it is important for leaders to listen to others first. Being a leader is not just having a talking stick for yourself. That is, I cannot be a true leader if I just talk first before listening. If you want to convince others, turn your talking stick over to the next person for a moment and ask, "What do you think?" Amazing things will happen. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 8, Soyoung Kim from Busan National University. She will give a speech titled Free Hugs.
I saw a man holding a sign, and he was hugging people whoever went in a van. Ah, free hugs. I left without much thought, but all of a sudden, something stopped in my feet and made me look back again. I was reminded about a time in elementary school. It became the first day of the school, and I dragged my little feet into the classroom. That was when my teacher called me to the front and asked me a favor. Will you be the one who washes my cup and silverware for me every day? I was so proud to have my very own responsibility of taking my teacher dishes and washing them. Every day after I washed them, I brought them to the teacher. She would be waiting for me with a warm white wash cloth, and after she wiped my wet hands, she always gave me a hug. There were times where the other students teased me about how I wasn't rich. I'll be discouraged and become bitter about my family situation. But my teacher said, "It's all right," and always gave me a hug. Another time, I wanted to make my teacher happy, so I studied as much as my little brain would contain information. But I would always fail and cry with frustration. At that time, my teacher always gave me a hug. When my teacher hugged me, whatever I have so much in pain in my life, no matter who make me so sad, everything could be cured in her breath. At that moment in her arms, I felt safe, I felt warm, I felt love. It's when a person gets older that their eyes open up the real world where there are no second chance and no mercy. I have to regard my friends as competitors, and I lost the space of a heart to care for others. I naturally came to forget the feeling of safety or warmth. However, after I started the free campaign, I was reminded of something that I had forgotten for so long. So I decided to join the free campaign. But the first day of joining the campaign, I'm so embarrassed and anxious. Koreans were not very accustomed about the touch, and we also reluctant to be touched by others and to touch others. While I holding a sign, people did not much pay attention on me. Even they all seemed like looking weary to me. But after for a while, one by one closed me and started hugging me. They shouted, "Sister!" A little kiss rushed toward me and hugged me tightly. And I also went to the elderly group and gave them a free hug. It became not only physical touch, but the touch of heart. I felt like I was delivering my strength to the people around me, and I was happy when their smile met mine. It felt good to know that the person would receive energy to go in their life. Now, I realized why my teacher had hugged me so much. Those hugs that my teacher gave me had a nurturing confidence. It was the fuel for my will and eagerness to pursue my future dreams. Those small hugs had changed me. I want a world where people can hold on their own sign in their heart. Free hugs. Perhaps a simple hug is more precious than 1,000 words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 9, Haerim Lee from Seogang University. Title is My Dream, Let Us Enjoy the Right to Vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed judges, good afternoon. It's hard to believe that it has been only 2 weeks since we first met in Hanyang University. Since that time, I've been training harder than ever to convey an important message, and that is this: let us enjoy the right to vote. A month ago, there was a sensational issue unlike any other. It was about the vote for free lunch program. It was about whether to provide free lunches to all students or to provide them in stages to only children from economically challenged families. However, the referendum was abandoned because the count rate was less than what was needed. In this vote, there were no policies, but only politics. There was nothing about people's welfare, but a senseless bickering. It was not about discussing how to start a free lunch program, but a simple squabble on whether to vote or not. People who supported the governing party went to cast their votes. People who supported the opposing party insisted on not voting. This situation was enough to destroy the sacred contract of voting entrusted to us citizens. Everyone, why do you think we vote? Some people are saying, how can a one voter can change the society? Others are saying they were disinclined to vote because there was nothing to vote for. The reason why the voting is meaningful is because we make policies and elect politicians that make our voices heard. This is what separates the democracy from the bygone policies like feudalism or autocracy. Some people would think it was one time, so that it is all right to reject the right to vote if it is only once. However, If such abhorrent practices are repeated in the future, no one can guarantee our political stability in 10 years' time. The right for others over 19 to vote is the culmination and a gift of the blood and sweat of our forefathers. But in this case, the hard-earned democracy was falsely linked to political interest and blamed. Of course, I agree that this vote is a sensitive issue, but I think the voter should not be the one to blame. This case is a blatant example of the manipulation of the right to vote in matters of social welfare. To you, I want to say that it should be smarter than the politicians. If we surrender to their election pledges, we could give up our own right to vote. Political disputes should not be solved by appealing to emotion, nor should they be a matter of political interest. They should be about the rationality of subjects for their long-term benefits and solved by long and continual discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 10, Hyun-Jin from Yonsei University. Title is A Letter from My Father.
Since I was young, I often found my father absent. No, it was more than often, obviously, because I could meet him only on weekends. He was usually away from home. I heard it's because of his busy work, but I couldn't understand why on earth my father, among so many fathers in this world, should be that busy all the time. It was fine when I was too young to care much about the meaning of absence of father. But as I grew up, everything became so awkward. Speaking over the phone, saying, "See you soon," every weekend, even relaxing with him felt awkward. On weekends, he played chess, and I hung out with my friends. There was no such thing like communication. I didn't like it. Actually, I hated it. What's worse, as I became 19, I wasn't able to meet him even on weekends anymore. He was taking a long-term official trip. I thought it's the worst I could imagine. But all the awkwardness with my father became in no need suddenly. Maybe I felt quite fortunate on this. There were some times I really needed him though. When I was a third-grade student in high school, every time my schoolwork wasn't going well and my teacher looked down on me, I needed him to tell me, "It's okay, you're doing wonderful." I needed him to take photos with me at my graduating ceremony, and I needed him to hug me when I got an admission from university. But he wasn't there beside me. At the most sad and happy time in my life, he wasn't there. One normal day, I got a letter. It was a letter from my father. It was a letter of apology from my father. Dear my daughter, I totally understand how hard it is for you to cope with my long absence. And I'm really, really sorry. I know that someone's wounded mind can only be healed by forgiveness. So I take courage. My precious daughter, please take my apology and understand me for not being able to be right next to you. I'm so sorry not being a great father to you, as you are so perfect daughter to me. I love you so much. You know I love you, right? With love, Father. Actually, I do. I do know how much he loves me. I do know even though we didn't talk much, he remembered every single word I told him. I do know he knew when I feel good and bad. I do know he always boasts of me and my brother to his friends. I know this so well, but I just took all this for granted and forgot how to be grateful just because he's not with me. He must have needed me and my love too. but I haven't shown him my sincere love. Now I know that he has never been absent. He was always there, loving me and thinking of me. And I know he will always be the same, as I will love him and think of him for all my life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 11, Kyungyeon No from Keimyung University. Title is A Blessing in Disguise.
One beautiful sunny spring day in Seoul, people were walking, eating, and living just like any other day. Suddenly, people started shouting. What's that noise? This isn't a Jew. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. What a sight! There were 6 elephants in the street. In the blink of an eye, 3 of them broke into a restaurant and ate all of the vegetables. They even pooped and peed in the restaurant. They almost tore the place down. The elephants had escaped from the children's zoo. The police and trainers finally showed up and captured them and ended the elephant chaos. Many stores were damaged and the owners fell into despair. But the owner of the restaurant that the elephants tore up had a fantastic idea. She changed the name of the restaurant to Elephants Feasted Here and even changed the menu to say elephant-sized servings, which meant she gave up more food. Soon, her restaurant became famous. She hit the jackpot. In the beginning, the elephant's intrusion first brought despair. But in the end, it became a blessing. As I was writing my speech, I suddenly had extreme pain in my stomach. So I went to the doctor. He ran a few tests and said, "Your stomach is full of blood. I'm sending you to the hospital immediately." They put me in an ambulance and took me to a university hospital where I had surgery for 3 hours. When I woke up, I was in so much pain. I spent a painful night there with my mom and dad. Why me? Why did this happen to me? The pain was unbelievable. The next day, the doctor showed me the video of my surgery. He showed me where a cyst had burst and told me that if I hadn't come in when I did, my life could have been in danger because of the dead blood. Not only that, he said he found another large cyst and removed it during surgery. He explained that a cyst on the ovaries can cause ovarian cancer, which meant they would have to be removed and I could never have children. I was lucky. If I hadn't been bleeding, they wouldn't have found a cyst because the ovaries don't feel pain or show symptoms. After I heard his explanation, the painful, miserable night I spent in the recovery room actually turned out to be my greatest blessing. Blessing in disguise simply means that out of misfortune comes blessing. Just like the elephant's intrusion into the restaurant actually helped the owner to hit the jackpot, the painful bleeding helped to discover my cyst. Do you have despair in your life? Look at your problems from a different angle. You may find a blessing in disguise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 12, Seon Cho from Korea University. The title of her speech is Dear My Brother.
Very good. Hi Khan, it's almost been a month since you left the United States. I know you'll be living there permanently while I'll be living in Korea. We had made such different choices even though we lived almost in the same environments. I wondered why. Our dad's job gave us the opportunity for us to live in various countries for more than 11 years. This provided us a foundation for us to be exposed to various cultures. Having been exposed to these diverse cultures, our minds became a unique collage of various cultural elements that people who lived only in a single culture can't quite understand. This debilitated us from fully bonding with one culture and forced us to be itinerant. We struggled for long to find agreement with a single identity. I remember back when we were in Istanbul, and back then I thought I was a Caucasian. This was maybe because you and I were the only Asians throughout the entire school. Consequently, when we went back to Korea, I was in trouble. I was literally shocked when my 5th grade Korean teacher told me that I should not ostracize my fellow Korean classmates as being weird, since I were a Korean too. Fortunately, I was able to get along and fully identify myself as a Korean, but little did I know that this was to soon work against me as soon as my environment changed. When we moved to America, a task totally different from before was assigned to me. I was to blend in as an American now. At school, American students weren't exactly happy with who I turned out to be. The Americans knew the cool way to socialize, while I, all lost with no common sense, was not at all up to their taste. So I struggled to be accepted, shopping in Abercrombie, persuading mom to buy me a Tiffany bracelet, aka a symbol of coolness, and also be involved in conversations with most intimate topics that I was ever so clueless of. So, things got better and I made friends, but still time to time I feel miserable and lonely without exactly knowing why. While I spent my 4 years in America feeling a bit like an oddball, you, Han-kyung, you were different. Not only had you brilliantly adapted to the jungle, you would actually become one of them. This was when our paths started to separate. When we moved back to Korea, our positions became opposite. It only took me about a year for me to adapt to a Korean environment, but for you, it took you for your rest of your stay in Korea. Unfamiliar with the colloquial language and the social norms of Korea, you struggled. Yes, you had friends, but you weren't exactly happy with where you were. I have no doubt that this was about when you finally realized that you were more suited to live in America, just like how I felt when I was in the States about Korea. So, now that you are in America, you will be living a life that I would never be living. For this, I sometimes feel afraid of losing you. Imagine what it would be like 20 years later, with nothing in common, living in the opposite sides of the world, distant and detached. However, I know all of these are of groundless fears because, after all, you're my brother. What's more important is that you making the choice of your life that will satisfy your sense of belonging and guarantee your happiness. But, Han-kyung, please, do remember your fellow Koreans. These are the people you can always fall back to whenever you feel lonely and distant in that large continent. So good luck. I'll see you when you come back for your military service. Take care.
Thank you very much. Next, we have contestant number 13, Jong-yeon Jang from Usok University. Title is Beautiful Mind.
Master, will you come back our country? Even if you can't, we're so happy that we had time to spend 1 year with you. We'll always remember you, so don't forget us. Master, thank you. And goodbye. I always wanted to show them my strong mind, but at that moment, I couldn't hold back my tears, and I made happiest face in the world and say to them, I promise you that I will come back. This was the time when I had taught Taekwondo in Rwanda for a year and had to separate with them. When I think of that time, even today, I can't stop heading towards that promise. After I found my dream, I could no longer live my life recklessly. Before going to Rwanda, I was a student who only lived for myself. It was my hobby to degrade others and judge them. I didn't take any interest in my family or friends, so I grew lonely and lost all of my happiness. Then one day on campus, I saw the Overseas Volunteer Program poster. It was a picture of a student with African children that were wearing worn-out clothes, smiling brightly. How can they be so happy? With the thought of wanting to learn the secret, I left behind my life in Korea and left to Rwanda. But unfortunately, the Rwanda lifestyle lacked in many ways was extremely difficult for me in such environment. I would get mad at the natives while I taught Taekwondo for free. But then one day, one little child brought me a piece of bread wrapped in paper to express his hurt. That day, we shared the most delicious bread in the world. That night, I really hated myself. So that I decided to throw away myself who used to hurt others and only consider myself. Immediately next day, I went up to the natives who came to run from me and apologized. Unexpectedly, the natives smiled brightly at me and say, "Master, we are fine. Master, we can only be thankful that you've come to our country. Master, if you hadn't come, we couldn't have possibly learned Taekwondo." When I heard Rwanda people speak, it was hard for me to hold back my tears. From that day on, we gathered our hearts together to train for the Taekwondo performance for IYF World Camp in Rwanda. We were able to make Korea and Taekwondo widely known to all the students. I became a family with the natives. Although their skin color were dark, they had most beautiful hearts. The day I had to go back to Korea, I don't even know how much I cried. Today, I'm preparing for the Koika exam to return to my second hometown, Rwanda. I want to teach Taekwondo to the children so that I can help them dream. The people around me often say, "You're such a good person, and you have such an awesome dream." I'm thankful, but they thought wrong. I'm going back in order to return the happiness they've given to me. The problem is, this happiness is so great, so that I can't find a way to return what I've received. If someone asks, "Why do you like Rwanda so much?" I will answer, "It is not because of the beautiful grassland or the sky that looks like it could be touched, but it is actually for the Rwanda people who have the most beautiful heart in this world." Everyone, right now, I'm heading towards Rwanda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now this is the last contestant for the first half of the contest. Number 14, Junak Lee from Gangwon University. Title of the speech is Escaping a Bird's Chest.
You might have heard the Korean idiom having a bird's chest. The translation having a bird's chest doesn't only have a literal meaning. It also refers to the people who are too sensitive to their surroundings. These days, lots of young people have a so-called bird chest. I was not an exception. I'd like to talk to you one unforgettable experience I had in my middle school days. I really wanted to grow my hair long, but my father didn't like the idea. I was jealous of other boys with long hair. One day, my father told me to have my hair cut although it looked short enough to me. I was so upset that I went into my room and put his name in my death notebook, which was popular among teenagers then. It was inspired by a title of a Japanese movie that many teenagers saw back then. Looking back, I don't understand why it is such a terrible thing, but many middle school boys put down loads of names in it without even feeling guilty. After my father's name in it, I went out for a haircut. While I was out, my father cleaned my room and he found a black notebook with his name in it. She was shocked and speechless for a while. A few days later, he approached me about the death notebook. He said that she was partially responsible because he only disciplined me without serious heart-to-heart talks. I still feel very sorry for that. I was that kind of person. I often reacted too fast without really thinking. I hated people if they got on my nerve, and I thought of horrible things about them. I came to a point where I wanted to change, and I tried to find a role model to help me. I found the things that successful people had in common. Let me share with you a story about King Zhang in old China. She was holding a big party to celebrate a victory in the war. In the middle of the party, the wind blew and put out all the candles in the hall. Just then, the queen shouted, "Your Majesty, someone kiss me." An air of silence filled the hall. Then she added, But don't worry, Your Majesty, I took the string off his hat. If you light a candle, then we can find the man. The king was very upset at first, but he thought for a moment. If I punish the man who kissed her, it will spoil the party. He ordered everyone in the hall to pull the strings off their hats. When the candles were lit again, all the men in the hall were wearing hats without strings. The joyful party continued, thanks to the king's wise decision. 3 years later, a neighboring country invaded King Jang's country and he fell in danger. But then, one general fought valiantly and ended up saving the country and the king from the invasion. This general was the man who had kissed the queen a few years ago. I found this story to be inspiring. Tagore, the poet, once called Korea the land of morning calm. But lately we have been seeing more young people impassioned. More sad incidents by young people have happened. Some celebrities have even committed suicide about trifling things. I think we young people should start to change. I'd want to stop being a person with a bird's chest and become a person like King Jang. Jackson Brown said, most talents are to some extent a gift. Good character, by contrast, is not given to us. We have to build it by thought, choice, courage, and determination. Now I understand I should build my character for myself. I'll do this for my bright own future as well as for a hopeful tomorrow of Korea. Thank you for listening.